The purpose of this video is to defend Shinji as a character, something that I, in the past, never thought about doing in a million years. I watched Evangelion 3 or 4 times by now, and in this last rewatch season my perception of Shinji changed dramatically. For the first time ever, I was able to understand him, even if just a little bit. There are a couple of memes in the Evangelion community, and one of them is Shinji getting the robot, and that was how I was seeing him for all this time. A crybaby that was almost useless when not motivated. I wasn't stupid enough to ignore all he went through, but I think I was just not mature enough to feel his pain until very recently, with the pandemic. In this global changing event, I was isolated from the world for a long time, and in this time, I started to look into myself a little bit more. My fears, failures, dreams, life. And I got to understand a little bit more about myself, and I see a lot of Shinji Ikari in me. Recently, I watched all of JoJo, and a lot of memes about the franchise started to flood my social media feeds. And I saw in particular one comment that caught my attention and I simply can't forget about it. It was about people that were always angry and mean towards a character named Shigechi, because of how he portrayed himself in the show. The commenter was mad because people were angry that a kid was being annoying like a kid. And that made me think about this because I didn't like Shigechi's actions either, but it's easy to understand him now. He was just a kid being a kid, and Shinji Ikari is not different of that. When he is introduced, we can see a shy boy becoming part of a world of terror with a giant monster that only he can deal with. A boy that is scared of these events, that wants to get away from them, but at the same time doesn't want to run away. This boy also has a problem with his father. His relationship with Gendo is deepened as the show goes on, but in general, Shinji wants to get the attention of his father again, after all the events that led both of them to go in different paths. Not only that, he sees himself living with a person that he just met and knows nothing about, Misato. But let's go by parts here. It is okay to be scared of a literal monster that can destroy humanity. It is okay to be scared of joining an organization that you've never heard before. It is okay to be scared of getting the effing robot. It is normal to be scared of different situations in life, it unfolds itself in front of us. But when we see these things in a show that, at least in the beginning, is about robots and monsters, we don't feel this empathy with the character, we just judge. At least I did. And the same thing goes with Misato too. Our sexist world makes us imagine that a teen like Shinji will like the experience of living with a beautiful woman like Misato that is super nice and cheerful, but we ignore the fact that she is a total stranger for him. A little man that, as the show goes on, we see that has a lot of insecurities, fears and doubts like every single other person on the planet. We close our eyes to mundane things in shows that are not 100% about that since the beginning. We are so used to superheroes that conquer their fears and enemies, or tragic protagonists that overcome tough situations to get on the top in every fight, that when we see one that struggles for real with the basics of relationships, or is scared of fighting, we see them like they are weak or less than what they should be. Shinji living with Misato is also a way of forcing him to change some aspects of his character, about himself, and this is not a natural change. We must adapt to the world we live in, but we should not forget who we are, even if we don't really know that. I believe that his relationship with Gendo is the easiest one to understand. I know it doesn't apply with everybody out there, but hey, having trouble to communicate with their parents and the desire of making them proud can be a problem for a lot of people, myself included. It is understandable to try your best to impress the people that have expectations on you, even if your relationship with them is a mess. Because in our heads, we can fix that relationship, but deep inside our hearts we know that that's not 100% true. One fantastic piece of psychology and philosophy presented in Evangelion is the Hedgehog's dilemma that I'm planning to make a video about. To summarize it, imagine a group of hedgehogs during the winter. They find a cave to protect themselves from the snow, but it's still really cold. They need to be closer with each other to share the warmth, but they hurt themselves with their spines. If they get too far apart, the cold will hurt them. So they need to find the perfect distance to survive. And we, humans, we are like that in our relationships too. Some people hurt us, but we still need others to live, to survive. We need to find this perfect distance too, and it's not easy at all. Shinji is the character that suffers the most with this. People judging him, saying bad things to him, with lots of expectations on him, but he can't get away from them. They hurt, but they're still his friends that need him to do his job that became important to him, and he doesn't want to run away anymore. He can't escape the pain both of being close and far from them. People always hurt us in our lives. But are we seeing ourselves in Shinji or just judging him too? We simply do not have the time to reflect about relationships in life. We feel that something is wrong, that something is hurting, but how can we fix these things if we need to go to the bed right now to wake up in the morning and relive the same routine over and over again? We do not pilot giant robots to save the world, but day in day out we try our best to do our work, our duty to serve and protect society, to be with our family, friends, to study, but we do not have time to think about ourselves. In the movie The End of Evangelion, one of the things that happens with Shinji is that he loses his ego. Ego here is basically the definition of who he is. Psychology says that we humans cannot lose our ego, our perception of ourselves in the world. But can you really see yourself sometimes? Can you understand that you are part of this world, that you have desires, likes, dislikes, feelings, will? The world never stops. Society never stops. Time never stops. And that makes us prioritize everything but ourselves. Are we different from Shinji? Are we really in a position to judge a little 14-year-old boy that from one day to the other is the only hope of humanity? He does what other people tell him to do. Well, Tom, that's not super authentic, is it? Where is his personality, his voice? It's easier to simply do whatever people tell you without losing energy thinking about it, but when you believe that everybody hates you, that everybody judges you, that everybody will betray and hurt you, the hardest thing to do is to raise your voice. All the feelings that hold you back scream in your ear that you are useless, that you do not know any better. If they need you, cooperate. Maybe they will like you more. Shinji is so happy when someone compliments him. What about you? Isn't it awesome when you feel that people care about you, even if it's just a little bit? Isn't it awesome when someone smiles at you like they did with Shinji? Why would a kid think otherwise? Hey Tom, calm down, man. It is just a show. Yes, I know that's just a show, but our life is a show too, isn't it? Think about the things that are holding you back, making you sad, making you overthink about everything and not enjoy the simple things in life. They are affecting the main character of your life, you. And I'm not saying this like you're the king of the world or the main protagonist of the planet. I'm saying this because if you don't think about these things, how can you try to achieve happiness? Shinji Ikari is different of everybody else. Shinji Ikari is like everybody else. The last two sentences are correct. Shinji has his own personality, desires, fears, etc., but everybody has these things too. He is the protagonist of his life, but in the world, we are dealing with every single other protagonist of their lives. Because we only see the world with our eyes, it's normal to see our problems bigger than other people's. And Shinji is not different of that. Because we watch Evangelion through his eyes, we do the same thing as he does. Of course, with time we learn more about the other characters, but we still understand Shinji a bit more than them. When Asuka arrives, or better saying strikes, and they start their relationship, we see that Shinji cares about her. They are rivals, at least in her eyes, but they live together, fight together, and even dance together. Their relationship is not the best, of course. The American girl is always looking down on him, always talking with this air of superiority that would either bring you down or make you extremely angry. Asuka is a really complex character. Her past, fears, drama is really tough, heavy, and sad. She can be annoying, jealous, and angry, but I always like her. She's my favorite character in the show. I think it was easier to me to connect with her than it was with Shinji. She's his first kiss, that was basically forced to happen, by the way. She's a friend that was supposed to be closer to him, but that always stays away. Is he the problem? Is she the problem? Is there a problem at all? And here we are, back to the Hedgehog's dilemma. It hurts to be close to her, but he still cares. He tries, and he needs her. At the same time, we learn that she doesn't want to be left alone. She doesn't want to be useless, and Shinji saving the day every single time takes all the attention from her. Tom, that is selfishness. Yeah, but who is not selfish? She is the protagonist of her life, not him. Is she wrong? Or is she just defending herself and her vision of the world? Let me ask you, is there someone like her in your life? Someone that, like a hedgehog, hurts you? Someone important to you? That likes you but don't fully connect with you like you wanted to? Someone that you cannot connect because of your own insecurities? What is the problem? What is Shinji's problem? What is our problem? Are we scared of what people think about us? Or are we scared of getting hurt by them? Are we ignoring their ego just because we only care about ours? Or are we ignoring them because if we don't, they will ignore ours? Who are we? Who are you? Who am I? Who am I? I'm Tom. There are lots of people named Tom, but I'm unique. There's only one of me, right? Wrong. There are lots of me's out there. One in each and every single person that is watching me right now, that knows me, that talks to me, that listens to me, that lives with me, that read my words, that saw me. Each person has a vision of you, a perception of who you are, and in their view, that's who you are. Does that define who you really are? Of course not, but that adds to who you are. My friends have different perceptions of me, but not even a single one of them or all together can really define me in my head. Because I know myself. They don't. But do I really know myself? The Tom that exists in them is a vision of me, a me that exists, but I know nothing about. Maybe all of these perceptions plus how I see myself can define me, the real me, but maybe not. After all, even the one I see in the mirror every single day is different of who I am. You never know someone 100%, not even yourself. One of the reasons why we'll never understand ourselves 100% is the fact that we are always changing. These changes always come with time, and as we mature as humans, we change our perception of the world. Things that were good might turn bad and vice versa. One factor that helps us to change is our interactions with other people. We learn, evolve, and try different visions, things, experiences. Shinji changes with time in Evangelion, even his friends tell him this. The people close to us are the ones that can identify these changes the fastest. They have this vision from the outside, so it's easier to notice even the slightly little changes in our personality. Changing on the inside sometimes feels like an eureka, but normally it is with time, so we don't really notice. Changing is totally normal and actually necessary to survive. But here's the thing. Are we a different person when we change? The Heraclitus versus Parmenides debate. Do the flowing waters of a river change the river itself? I mean, the water that is there today is not the same that it was yesterday. So is the river the same? We can take two answers for this question. Different waters, different river. Even with different waters, the river is the same. And people are like that. We change physically and mentally as life goes on, and it is not uncommon to hear or think that we look like a different person. But are we really a different person? We are the same being, right? Shinji changes by living with other people, by learning from them, creating new experiences with them. But he is the same Shinji. After all, he still has his fears, insecurities, and all these things still drags him down. And all of this is fine, it is normal. Kaoru is a character that made a huge impact on Shinji, being this new friend that understands and likes him, but betrays Ikari's feelings in the end. Their relationship is meaningful because they have a short but deep connection, and this is the reason why Shinji is so mad with the betrayal. He trusted his feelings to Kaoru, ignoring the barriers of their heart. Someone betraying our trust. This sends us to a void of despair, makes our insecurities go crazy, makes it hard to trust another person again. But here, it goes to the extreme. Kaoru is now an enemy that must be killed, and Shinji struggles with that, especially because he sees that Kaoru did care about him. I love the scene of Shinji holding Kaoru in his hand with Eva 01. It takes a whole minute of silence, with no action, until it finishes. We don't really see Shinji in this minute, but it's really easy to imagine his pain of having to kill someone that, even in so little time, matters to him. Kaoru loved him. It is extremely hard to let someone go in our life, someone that mattered, someone that we care about. As it is said in the anime, being human is to be alone, but we ignore this to be able to survive. We are always in this fight with loneliness and overwhelming exposure. We are social animals that struggle to be social. Life is hard and well represented here. At the end of the show, it is shown that Shinji locked himself in a private world, represented by a stage, with a lot of different scenarios occurring there, representing all the possibilities that his life could have and all the happy moments he could live. Happiness is something that we all want to achieve, and we make countless sacrifices to reach it. But is happiness really achievable? What is happiness to you? The approval of people? Having a family? Having a life with no problems? Shinji hates himself, and this hate drags him down. He can't see happiness and, to avoid getting even more hurt, isolates himself. The fact that he is a human makes him imperfect, and this imperfection is the reason why we cannot achieve perfect happiness as the beings we are. However, when he realizes that he can love himself, his personal world breaks, leaving a space for self-acceptance and care. And then all of his friends congratulate him in this new and beautiful world. Unfortunately for us, we cannot do that in this way because we don't live in a world of Fanta, right? But like Shinji Ikari, we can learn to love ourselves. We are not better than him. Here in Brazil there is a song named Pais e Filhos by Legião Urbana. And this song says that we always blame our parents for everything. However, they have something in common with us. Deep inside, we are all kids. Kids that do not understand the world but need to live on it. We do not understand each other, but we need to have all these kinds of connections in life. We do not understand ourselves, we don't have time to understand ourselves, but we really have to. That's the only way to try to achieve happiness, even if this happiness is just temporary. And this seek is part of us. There are no guarantees that we can achieve happiness or something close to it in our life. But one mandatory thing to be able to pursue this happiness is being human. Being imperfect is the only possible way to go after perfection. And to be imperfect, you need to understand that this imperfection is something that you cannot change. I'm not saying we can't change our feelings, fears, or our way to see the world. I'm just saying that we will always have fears, insecurities, things that will make us sad. We must accept that this is something that we cannot change, that this is something normal, that this is something that makes us human. But we need to love ourselves to accept this. Love your imperfection to be happy. Be the beast that shouted "I" at the heart of the world. Be yourself. Be human. Be like Shinji.